Hi guys, this is my early 2026 AFL ladder predictions. So let's get into it. From the bottom of the ladder going up. So in 18th spot, I have, for me, it's obviously West Coast Eagles. You know, they've just been there at the bottom for a number of years, and it's they're a young team. They are really deep in a rebuild phase, and I think they're just going to be among those bottom four teams because they're just not ready to climb the ladder. I mean, they may not be at the bottom, but they could be in 16th or 17th, but I have them at 18th spot. 17th spot on the ladder, I have Richmond. Again, they're a young team. They did play some good games in 2025. Did show that they had some fight in them. But I just have Richmond in 17th spot because, you know, they too are rebuilding, and I just think they're going to lose a lot of games and not really be able to compete amongst a lot of the other teams. So Richmond is in 17th. The team I have in 16th is Essendon Bombers. They are, they're a young team, and they just haven't been a really competitive outfit for a very long time. I can't even remember. It's been like 10 years or something since they last played finals, or maybe just less than 10 years, but they aren't able to beat the top 8 or top 10 teams. They do put in some good performances from time to time. I like to watch them play, Essendon, but generally they're just not as tough as the other teams in the competition. They'll probably will beat some teams like West Coast and Richmond, maybe North Melbourne, but they're young, and I just have Essendon at 16th on the ladder. For 15th spot, I've got North Melbourne. North Melbourne, I like them, and I'd like to see them play better this year. They they're always hovering around the bottom of the ladder, but I would like to see them push higher up the ladder this year because it's gone on for too long. And Alistair Clarkson, I think he's in his 3rd year coaching the Kangaroos, and they got some good players, but I just think that they are going to be 15th on the ladder. But if they did get up to 12th on the ladder, or I'd say 12, for me should be their goal, then that is a improved year. 15th, I think they're just hovering in the spot that they've been for a long time. But if they can get to 12th on the ladder, that would be good for North Melbourne, but I just don't have the confidence in them, and so that's why I got North Melbourne in 15th spot. For 14th spot, I have Melbourne Demons. Their coach, he resigned, Simon Goodwin, last year, and Petrarca has left, and we saw Clayton Oliver leave the club. There's been a lot of changes with Melbourne Demons. They're not the team that they once were back in 2021 when they won the grand final. And I thought they were going to be a dynasty, the Melbourne Demons, but they just had really a lot of bad luck and bad headlines over the last couple of years. So I have Melbourne Demons in 14th spot for that reason, that they just are, they're in a transitional period. They got Stephen King as the coach and brought in players like Brody Myercheck, but I don't think they're going to be playing finals. They're in a transitional phase at the moment, and that's why I got them at 14th on the ladder. For 13, I have Port Adelaide. Yeah, I'm not sure about Port Adelaide. They are a team that often they played finals year after year, but last year was just horrible. It just seemed like the players were not really wanting to play very high level of football because of I think because Ken Hinkley was going to leave the club by the end of the year, and they just really didn't have the morale to play, and it was really just a disappointing year for Port Adelaide last year. And this year I think they're just going to be 13th on the ladder under their new coach, and I don't see them really pushing into the finals. I think they're still a year or two away from that. So Port Adelaide, they're 13th. This is the interesting part of the ladder for me. In 12th spot, I have Fremantle Dockers. Well, a lot of people hype Fremantle and think that they're going to be playing in the finals, or they're going to be top 4, but I just didn't see enough last year to show me that they are a top 4 team, or that they're amongst the best in the league. Like, they do play occasionally, they do win some tough games, but then they also lose games that they probably should win. And like last year, Fremantle, they had a big game against Brisbane Lions, and they just couldn't stand up to the plate. They just weren't there, and then they lost to Gold Coast Suns in that finals game. So I don't really see them as being one of the best teams in the league. That's why I got them as for 12th spot on the ladder. 11th, I have Collingwood Magpies. Every year Collingwood are pretty much a good team. They're just, you expect them to play finals just about every single year, but sometimes a team has to come down, and I think they're going to shift down with some of their aging players. I think that they're going to be 11th on the ladder this year. And maybe I am biased because I'm a Carlton supporter, but I just have Collingwood as in 11th spot because they are they constantly play in the finals, but I believe they will shift down this year. And in 10th spot, I have, obviously I have in 10th Carlton. But this really could go either way. It could be Collingwood that takes that 10th spot, or Fremantle. It's, you can change those. Any of those 3 teams could be in the 10th spot for me. But for my sake, I have Carlton in 10th and making the finals just for the wild card round. I like Carlton's changes this year. They got some new players, several new players, and this is definitely a new chapter for Carlton after losing Curnow and Jack Silvani, Tom De Koning, And we've lost other players over the last couple of years, like Matthew Kennedy and Corey Durden, Matthew Owies. So this is a Carlton that is a fresh Carlton team, and I'm actually excited to see how they play this year. Like I don't think they're going to be pushing high up the ladder, but I don't feel as though they're going to be at the bottom of the ladder. They'll be in that 10 to 12 range. But I have Carlton as 10th on the ladder. For 9th place, I have Gold Coast Suns. I was impressed by their play last year, Gold Coast, and very entertaining to watch. A lot of good attacking play, and I was supporting them in the finals and when they beat Fremantle, but then they lost to Brisbane disappointingly. So last year was a breakthrough year for Gold Coast Suns, and I think they will make the finals this year in this top 10 system now that we have. That I think Gold Coast will just get in at 9th spot. For 8th on the ladder, I have Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs are just a very tough team. They seem to, they're amongst the best teams in the league, in my opinion. When they're on, they're really on, and they can beat pretty much any other team. They're that good, and they're tough. They're good to watch, but that's why I'm not really a big fan of Western Bulldogs, because they're just they're a prickly side, I'd say. So I think Western Bulldogs will make the finals, and that's why I have them at 8th on the ladder. For 7th spot, I have St Kilda. A lot of people, myself included, we think St Kilda is going to have an interesting year and probably could get into the finals, because they have some new talent in their team, and like Tom De Koning and Jack Silvani, Liam Ryan, Sam Flanders. It will be very interesting to watch them play and how far they will go this season. And I think that I think they can make the finals this year. So that's why I got St Kilda in 7th on the ladder. For 6th spot, I have Adelaide Crows. Adelaide finished number 1 last year on the ladder. They were the minor premiers, but when it came to the finals, they were out in straight sets. They lost twice in a row, and so that was disappointing for them. But I think that they're going to learn from last year, and they're not going to finish top of the ladder this year. But I still have them finishing 6th on the ladder, because they do have a very talented team, and they should have learned from last year and the finals of last year, and they should come back better this year. So Adelaide Crows, I got them in 6th. For 5th place, I have Geelong Cats. Geelong, you just don't know, where they're going to be. Are they going to drop down? Are they going to be in the finals? Well, they pretty much play finals every year. They're one of those teams. And they had the grand final loss last year to Brisbane Lions, but I don't think it's going to faze Geelong that much. I mean, they didn't seem like too disappointed compared to Sydney Swans when they lost their grand finals. But Geelong, they weren't happy to lost the final, but I think they just are very confident in their abilities, and They have a very good team of players, a very good strategy, and yeah, that's why I have Geelong playing in the finals and at 5th spot. For 4th on the ladder, I have Sydney Swans. Well, Sydney Swans, they didn't have that great of a year last year. That was a reset year for them, with new coach and all. But I think that they're going to push back up into the top 4. They're going to really try hard to get a top 4 spot because they are a good team and they're a very speedy sort of team to watch. And I really do think, they're going to play in the finals, the Swans. Then I have them as 4th spot on the ladder. They got all those new players like Curnow there, and they'll just be very interesting to watch. So I have Sydney Swans at 4th. 3rd on the ladder, I have GWS Giants. They're one of my favourite teams, and they're a team that I think, they should be winning a grand final. They're very good to watch, and when they're on, they just can beat any team. And I don't know why the Giants haven't been able to just win a grand final, because they got so much talent, but they've been unlucky and they haven't performed in big finals games all the time. So, but that's why I've got them. I think Giants are a top 4 team for sure, and that's why I have them at 3rd on the ladder. 2nd spot, I have Brisbane Lions. Brisbane are, they are the reigning premiers. They've won back-to-back premierships, and they could go for 3 premierships in a row. But do I think they're going to finish on top of the ladder? I actually don't think so. The last couple of years they haven't really finished at the top of the ladder. Their season in general, they don't really play like, they're the best team in the league, but then they surprise everyone when it comes to the finals. So for me, I have Brisbane Lions at number 2 on the ladder. And for number 1, last but not least, it might seem a bit of a shock. Even for me it is a bit, but I have Hawthorn finishing at number 1. So Hawthorn, they've gotten to the finals the last couple of years. They've been a top 8 team, and they haven't won in their big games. They were knocked out by Port Adelaide one year, and they're knocked out by Geelong last year. So I think the Hawthorn Hawks will learn from these experiences, and they're going to come back this year and be finishing number 1 on the ladder. So that is just my opinion on the 2026 AFL season. But let me know your thoughts, who you think is going to finish on top of the table, at the bottom of the table, and just what your prediction would be for this year's AFL season. Thank you.